Elbone here, and I've got everything you need to know before you watch this weekend's 2024 Mexico City Grand Prix, including a recap of this past weekend's controversial United States Grand Prix. Elbone! Yes, my name is still Elbone instead of J-Bone because my race predictions are still going terribly, but before I get into that, let's recap the USGP. Here are the three biggest stories from the F1 United States Grand Prix. First, Max Verstappen just proved why he, and not Lando Norris, will be crowned 2024's F1 World Drivers' Champion. In a Grand Prix where Lando had to finish ahead of Max to keep his title hopes on life support, after already losing ground to Max during the sprint race, Max got the best of Lando not once, but twice during the USGP. First, you had Max in P2 overtaking pole sitter Lando at turn 1 on lap 1 after Lando left Max way too much room and Max sent it up the inside on him, which was very reminiscent of how Lando lost P1 from pole at Monza. And then, you had Lando losing the battle for P3 to Max at the end of the race by way of Lando receiving a 5-second penalty for overtaking Max off track during their tussle. Some people think he shouldn't have got the penalty, some think he should have. Either way, he got it, and he lost to Max again. This masterclass, or should I say Maxterclass, in aggression, defense, and driving on the limit from Max, and Lando's inability to prevail over him yet again when he certainly could have, has proven to me that Lando just does not have what it takes to truly take a title fight to Max this season unless something crazy happens like a Max DNF in these remaining races. Next, Ferrari just majorly shook up the World Constructors' Championship title fight. The United States Grand Prix represented a huge points haul opportunity for both McLaren and Red Bull as they duke it out as the top two teams in the World Constructors' Championship, but it wasn't either of them that left Austin with the most points, it was Ferrari. Out of a possible 59 points up for grabs at the USGP with the sprint and the Grand Prix and the fastest lap point, Ferrari managed to score an astonishing 55 points as they finished the race 1-2 and the sprint race 2-4. Ferrari entered the USGP in third place in the Constructors' Championship and remained there after it. However, this huge points haul has absolutely propelled them smack dab into the middle of the Constructors' Championship picture. With 5 races and 2 sprint races remaining, Ferrari now trail Red Bull in P2 by just 8 points and McLaren in P1 by just 48 points. To put that in perspective, if Ferrari have the type of sprint weekend they just had in Austin at the next 2 sprint weekends, that'll be enough by itself to put them in P1. It sure looks like McLaren's biggest Constructors' Championship rivals are not Red Bull, but Ferrari. Additionally, a major shout out is in order for both Liam Lawson and Franco Colapinto. While the USGP represented just the 4th F1 race start for Franco Colapinto and the 6th F1 race start for Liam Lawson, both of these young drivers managed to impressively finish in the points with masterful and well-managed drives at the USGP. Lawson finished P9 in his first race back in F1, and Colapinto managed P10 with the fastest lap before Esteban Ocon rudely pitted for soft tires at the end of the race to steal it from him. What a jerk. Also, Lawson finished P9 from P19 on the starting grid. That's crazy. We started this F1 season off with 0 rookies and also doubt in the air about where F1 was heading in terms of its young drivers, and luckily these 2 rising stars have absolutely dispelled any rumors that the future of F1 is not bright. Before we move on to talking about the Mexico City Grand Prix, we unfortunately need to talk about how my 3 bona fide United States Grand Prix race predictions turned out. My first prediction was that Lando Norris would win the United States Grand Prix. And yeah, I'm not even mad that Lando started the race on pole and was once again promptly overtaken on lap 1. Ferrari were just never not winning this race. Their pace was insane. This one's not on Lando. It's on me. Very big of me, eh? Man, I'm humble. My second prediction was that a Mercedes car would finish on the USGP podium. And yeah, I didn't account for Mercedes' upgrades stinking like poop and causing both of their drivers to spin out at the exact same corner, ruining both of their drivers' chances at a podium. One during qualifying and one during the race. Why couldn't these upgrades be like their mid-season upgrades that won them Silverstone? Because they weren't, and now I look even stupider. My third race prediction was that Haas would finish in the points at their home race for just the third time ever, and ding ding, thankfully Albon got that one right. Albon! My well-documented case of Haas delusion syndrome came in clutch here, as my steadfast belief in Haas supremacy has prevented me from another 0 for 3 showing, as Haas actually logged their best ever USGP result this past weekend. However, I'm obviously not pleased with how this whole situation shook out. That was another 1 for 3 poop on a stick situation, and it puts me at 26 for 58 for the season thus far with my predictions, which, yes, I know is still below 50%, so please stop commenting that I am below 50% on the season with my predictions, because I know, seriously, do not go comment that right now, because I will read it and it will make me upset. Fortunately, I have 5 more race weekends to get back above 50%, starting with this weekend's Mexico City Grand Prix, so make sure that you stay tuned all the way to the end of this episode to check out those predictions. Also, while you're here, be sure you're subscribed to my channel so you can get my F1 updates all season and off-season long. And while you're subscribing, please leave a like on this video so that YouTube likes me more. I'm trying to get 2,000 likes here in this video. If you could please help me out by liking it right now, like right now, like right now. Now it's time to look ahead and talk about this weekend's Mexico City Grand Prix. The Formula 1 Mexico City Grand Prix, often referred to as the Mexican Grand Prix because that was its name for a long time, takes place this weekend at the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez, located in Magdalena Mixhuca, Iztacalco, Mexico DF, Mexico, North America, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Laniakea Supercluster, Universe. The Mexico City Grand Prix weekend starts this Friday, October 25th, which will consist of free practices 1 and 2. Saturday, October 26th, will consist of free practice 3 and qualifying, and Sunday, October 27th, will consist of the Grand Prix. The Formula 1 Mexico City Grand Prix is one of the most unique races on the F1 calendar, and here's why. First, it's the highest altitude race in Formula 1 by an absolutely huge margin. The Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez is the most elevated circuit in Formula 1, measuring in at over 2.2 kilometers or 1.4 miles above sea level. This is almost 3 times more elevated than the next highest F1 circuit, Interlagos. The circuit's altitude always proves to be a massive challenge for teams when it comes to all aspects of car setup, as the thin air at altitude not only means power units have to work much harder than at sea level to produce the same amount of power, but also that car elements are more prone to overheating and that drag is severely reduced. That last point is why you'll see F1 cars in Mexico City with Monaco spec high downforce rear wings, despite the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez featuring one of the longest straights in Formula 1, because the cars need all the downforce they can get for cornering purposes given how thin the air is. Additionally, the Mexico City Grand Prix is unique because it contains the single largest grandstand in Formula 1 and one of the largest in all of motorsport, the Foro Sol Grandstand. The Foro Sol Grandstand is actually 2 different grandstands, Foro Sol Norte y Foro Sol Sur, through the middle of which the circuit passes after drivers complete a technical slow speed section. Despite the part of the circuit it overlooks not featuring much action, the Foro Sol is still said to be one of the rowdiest, most fun places to watch Formula 1 on the entire calendar because of how much the crowd gets into the racing, especially when home hero Checo Perez passes through, which unfortunately he didn't get to do last year, and it was really sad. Speaking of which, the Mexico City Grand Prix is also unique because it contains the longest run-up from the starting grid to Turn 1 on the entire F1 calendar. It is 990 meters, or over 0.6 miles from the start line to Turn 1 when the lights go out in Mexico City, leaving plenty of room for slipstreams, full sends, and other shenanigans to occur from when the lights go out to when the brake lights go on. Yes, I know F1 cars don't have brake lights, but I just thought that sounded cool. I speak for all F1 fans when I say that I really hope Checo does not fall victim to these Turn 1 shenanigans again this year. Here are your storylines to follow for this weekend's 2024 Mexico City Grand Prix. First, how will Checo Perez perform at his home Formula 1 race in Mexico? All eyes are always on Checo Perez whenever he races in his home country of Mexico, as he's not only the lone Mexican driver on the F1 grid, but he's also the winningest Mexican driver in Formula 1 history. The only other Mexican driver to win a Formula 1 race literally has the Mexico City Grand Prix circuit named after him, so yeah, Checo is a huge deal in Mexico. However, all eyes will be on Checo now more than ever, as rumors continue to swirl that this very well could be his final Mexico City Grand Prix due to how much he's underperformed this season relative to his teammate Max Verstappen. While Max Verstappen is on to win the World Drivers' Championship, Checo is on to finish P8, which is a pretty wild discrepancy between teammates, the likes of which you rarely see. As a consequence of Checo's underperformance, Red Bull are on to finish P3 in the World Constructors' Championship instead of what could easily be P1 since they have the top driver, and that is why everyone thinks they'll make a driver change imminently that'll see Checo leave F1, most likely for good. All of this is well known to Checo, so you have to think he'll be more motivated than ever to put in a solid result at what could be his final race in front of his home fans, especially after he didn't even complete one turn at last year's Mexico City Grand Prix. How do you think Checo Perez will perform at this weekend's Mexico City Grand Prix? Let me, Elbone, know in the comments. Go comment right now. Your second storyline, Formula One continues to be unpredictable and thus literally nobody knows who's going to win the Mexico City Grand Prix. Who saw a Ferrari 1-2 coming in Austin? Certainly not me, or else I would have gotten that prediction right. Elbone. We have had 3 different race winners from 3 different teams in the last 3 races, if you include sprint races, which just goes to show that it's a total free-for-all right now in F1, where nobody knows who's going to win going into every race session. The case for Red Bull winning in Mexico is that they've won 5 of the last 6 Mexico City Grand Prix, and Red Bull clearly have found at least some pace given their sprint race win. The case for McLaren winning is that they are still the team that's won 2 of the last 3 races with what's still probably the fastest car. The case for Ferrari winning is that they just absolutely dominated in Austin, and that the winner of the USGP won the Mexico City Grand Prix in 2021, the most similarly close recent F1 year to this one. The case for Mercedes winning is, okay, they're probably not going to win, but you never know. We said that before Silverstone, so you never know. Your third storyline, Lando Norris needs to win this race to keep his Drivers' Championship hopes alive. Lando has 5 Grand Prix and 2 sprint races to make up a 57-point gap to Max Verstappen, and with each passing race that he fails to take out a huge chunk from that point total, the odds of him overcoming Max's point total go down. Barring a DNF from Max, which is entirely possible, Lando pretty much needs to win out to give himself a chance at overtaking Max, given how big Max's lead is and how consistently Max is driving right now, even though his car is performing suboptimally. Not scoring the maximum amount of points in Mexico, or worse, not scoring more points than Max, could make the uphill battle Lando already has too steep for him to climb. Lando knows what he needs to do. Now let's see if he can do it. Your final storyline, once again, it's all eyes on Liam Lawson and Franco Colapinto. Both of these rookies just impressively scored points in Austin, with Liam Lawson miraculously finishing P9 after starting P19, and Franco Colapinto going from P15 to P10. What's even more impressive is that both of these drivers accomplished these feats with a ton of pressure on them. Liam Lawson is driving to hopefully take Checo's Red Bull seat for next season, while Franco Colapinto is driving to hopefully get a seat at Sauber or maybe even VCarb if Liam Lawson does successfully earn Checo's Red Bull seat. These rookie sensations are appointment television as they continue to drive well beyond their years, and I cannot wait to see what they do this weekend in Mexico. Let me tell you about my sponsor, Shopify. Shopify is the best all-in-one commerce platform capable of handling your business's complexity, no matter how big you grow. Step up to Shopify and harness the best converting checkout and the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands like Ruggable and Allbirds. Why spend time trying to build an online store with someone besides Shopify when Shopify stores convert the best? You shouldn't be. You should be using Shopify. One thing I love about Shopify is that it integrates with YouTube, which just goes to show how forward-thinking they are when it comes to selling products in the modern digital age. They're always innovating. Stop leaving sales on the table, switch your business to Shopify, and discover why millions trust Shopify as their all-in-one commerce platform to build, grow, and run their business. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/fbone, all lowercase, very important, all lowercase. That's 1 month for just $1 at shopify.com/fbone, shopify.com/fbone. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for. Here are my 3 bona fide race predictions for the 2024 F1 Mexico City Grand Prix. Again, my name is currently Lbone instead of Jbone until I stop taking so many L's with these predictions and I'm back at or above 50% on the season. I'm currently at 26 for 58, aka around 45%, so I need to go 3 for 3 here to make up some ground so I don't end the season below 50%. Lbone! My first race prediction is that a Ferrari driver will win the Mexico City Grand Prix. I honestly went back and forth between predicting every realistic team here to win the race, including Haas because I have Haas delusion syndrome, but in the end, I settled on Ferrari. I pick the prancing horses to win in Mexico because of how the USGP winner tends to also win in Mexico lately, because of how well Ferrari have performed at circuits with long straights like Monza and Austin, and because of how hard they just dominated this past race weekend. My second race prediction is that Liam Lawson will finish in the points once again to make it back-to-back points finishes since his return to F1. Liam is clearly a man on a mission to take Checo's Red Bull seat right now, and I think he's going to have a solid weekend in Mexico City as he tries to convince Checo fans why he deserves Checo's seat. He certainly won't be winning them over as they love Checo too much, but I still think that he finishes in the points this weekend. My third race prediction is my best race prediction, and it is that Checo Perez will finish in the top 5 for the first time since Miami 14 races ago. Call me a dreamer, call me a softie, call me a moron, call me whatever, but I am predicting a Checo top 5 in what could be his final home Grand Prix. I am not doing this because my brain is telling me to, in fact, it's certainly telling me not to. No, I'm predicting this because my heart is telling me to. And I figure I might as well try listening to my heart since my brain isn't doing me any favors this season when it comes to these predictions. And last but not least, here's my prediction for the top 5 finishers in the Mexico City Grand Prix with zero reasoning nor explanation. P5, Checo Perez. P4, Carlos Sainz. P3, Max Verstappen. P2, Lando Norris. And P1, Charles Leclerc. Special shout out to my top YouTube channel members: Joe Max's number 1 hater Snow, Brian Linton, Wolfslows Racing, Waffleopicus, Melissa Cruz, and David Hake. Mash that join button just below this video to get your name shouted out right here in future videos. Until next time, folks, until next time, folks, Elbone. Elbone.